on to 284 News. My name is Javon Wilson.
I'm Kamal Hayes.
And I'm Ron Grant.
And we are so thrilled and happy to be coming to you live out of the beautiful British Virgin Islands. The content continues via our website, 284media.com. In today's news, the British Virgin Islands observes a 4-year anniversary of Hurricane Irma.
Fully vaccinated cruise passengers no longer required to test but must remain in bubble. Persons desiring to go outside of the bubble subject to rapid test.
We also see the Deputy Police Commissioner, Mr. Alwin James, retiring. Present and former commissioners pay tribute. And also, Virgin Islander launches financial literacy business. We are also live with Miss Natalie Hodge, the chairperson of the Miss British Virgin Islands pageant today. So stick with us. There's a lot more coming on today's edition of 284 News.
You value traditions.
Today,
You value music. You value education. Family.
I love you.
Service.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Love. Life. At Popular, we're committed to you and everything our community values. For the things you value the most, count on us. Popular.
Welcome everybody. It's Monday, September 6th, 2021. We're coming to you live and direct from the beautiful British Virgin Islands. I'm Ron Grant.
And my name is Javon Wilson. Always a pleasure joining you for another daily dose of 284 News, where you get, of course, your local, regional, as well as international content. We want to thank you so much for joining us. Now, we begin today's newscast by remembering just 4 short years ago the devastation that was observed in 2017. It is the anniversary, the 4-year anniversary of the passage of Hurricane Irma. Of course, this was an historic disaster that caused so much damage across the territory. But our premier, of course, territory leader, spoke to the observation just today. He said, and I quote, "While this experience was traumatizing for us as a people, the fact is that during this difficult moment in time, the same events that shook our faith strengthened our resolve. Today, we continue to rebuild, for the saying is true, that it takes years to build a reputation and 1 second to destroy it. People of the Virgin Islands, you did not let the hurricanes keep us down, using what we had in our hands, just as our people have done for generations upon generations. We took charge of ensuring our recovery, and we have achieved significant progress." End of quote. That was the Honorable Premier Foy. Of course, speaking to, I will call what we would think a bittersweet moment, Ron. Definitely a moment of character and resilience building, but so much catastrophe. But also speaking to the fact that our character wasn't broken. We are a strong people.
Indeed, and it's a daunting reminder, I think, of just how far we've come. And I think those reminders are very important as we traverse through these even more difficult times.
Yes.
Viewers, in addition to that, we're looking at some other headlines. The Premier says it's ludicrous that he denies signing, the MOU to allow cruise ships back. This was a hot topic, of course, discussed within the past week. The government is now considering even steeper fines for fake COVID-19 results, and politics in the TRC blocked my telecom improvement efforts, says former Minister of Communications, the Honorable Mark Vanterpool.
All right, viewers, we're going to dive straight into our newscast for today. Now, cruise ships apparently has won the battle of having COVID-19 testing requirements waived for passengers who depart their vessels once remaining inside newly established passenger bubbles. Now, this announcement was made by Premier Andrew Foy during a media conference on Friday, September 3rd, to update the public on a number of decisions made by Cabinet regarding the cruise industry. Let's watch.
Cabinet decided on 1st September 2021 as follows. A. To amend Statutory Instrument Number 67 of 2021, COVID-19 Control and Suppression, Entry of Persons, Number 3 Amendment, 12th June 2021, to remove the requirement for rapid testing for fully vaccinated cruise ship passengers and crew visiting the territory for less than 24 hours, subject to enhanced COVID-19 protocols, including passenger bubbles and enhanced COVID-19 monitoring and enforcement. B. To assign a task force headed by the Director of BVI Tourist Board to develop, implement, and enforce a cruise ship bubble operation plan and to report its contents to the Cabinet in 1 week. C. The cruise liners in transit to the Virgin Islands that subject their fully vaccinated passengers and crews to rapid tests within 24 hours of arrival would not be subjected to the bubble protocol and would be allowed to move freely within the territory. I repeat, only fully vaccinated passengers and crew who have tested negative with a rapid test within 24 hours of arrival in the Virgin Islands would be allowed to move about outside of the bubble protocol.
Now, here is the Premier, who is also responsible for tourism, further said that provisions were made for those passengers wanting to travel outside of the bubble who must undergo a rapid antigen test before being permitted to leave the bubble. The tourism minister added that precautionary measures were being made to further prevent ill cruise ship passengers from making it onto or into the territory by now requiring all cruise vessels prior to entering any port in the BVI to report any person on board exhibiting symptoms of COVID-19.
Cabinet also agreed that cruise ship passengers wishing not to be a part of the bubble and be allowed to move freely within the territory will be subject to an approved rapid test with results available within 5 minutes. Cabinet also agreed that as a matter of precaution, all cruise ships prior to entering the BVI and being cleared to berth at the Cyril B. Romney Tortola Pier Park or any other designated anchorage at one of the sister islands must report any passengers on board the ship who are ill, especially with COVID-19 symptoms, or have tested positive prior to arrival.
In addition to that, the Premier said that all persons working closely with cruise ship passengers will be subjected to bi-weekly rapid testing to protect the territory from any possibility of contracting or spreading the virus. Let's watch.
Cabinet also improved that every 2 weeks from the arrival of the first cruise ship during the restart of the cruise ship season, all taxi operators and businesses and government agencies that interact with the passengers and crew of the ships who participated in the bubble or free flow will undergo a rapid test, the cost of which shall be borne by the government of the Virgin Islands as a pilot for a period of 3 months, in an attempt to secure the safety of our residents while balancing lives with livelihood.
In the meantime, we see the BVI Ports Authority, the BVI Tourist Board, the Taxi, Livery and Commission, Environmental Health Decision, along with other government agencies. They will all now be tasked to ensure that all government protocols are adhered to by disembarking passengers, taxi operators and business operators, especially those at the Cyril B. Romney Tortola Pier Park. Ron, quite interesting decision made by the government of the Virgin Islands. Yes, we understand the importance of the cruise industry to our tourism product. Clearly, in 2016, Mr. Vance Lewis, the CEO, reporting that lots of money, was millions of dollars was made in that year, and clearly that was significantly affected by the pandemic, and there is need to save that industry, but we're seeing that it comes at a high cost, and balancing lives and livelihoods has been a challenge for the government.
You're absolutely right. At a high cost, it does, and I think at the end of the day, while we continue to try to navigate through these difficult times in trying to save the industry, I think what we should do, and perhaps is really look at some of the methods that have been used across the region. I don't think it's a case where we have to reinvent the wheel, but really look at what examples have worked and try to tweak it for our best interest here in the territory.
And that's a great point. Just today, the Twin Island of St. Kitts and Nevis, they rolled out their bubble plan, and I know the director of the BVI Tourist Board is now tasked with the responsibility of coming up with what that plan will look like, and of course submitting that to Cabinet for approval. And the Premier also mentioned, in the first instance, lots of businesses might not be able to part partake in that bubble, but hopefully in time to come, we will be able to open up a bit more.
And I'm actually, Jovan, very happy to see the bubble come to fruition because it has been in talks for a while. It's been resented and now brought back. So we're going to see how best that continues to go. Continuing on the local scene, former Commissioner of Police Michael Matthews joined present Commissioner Mr. Mark Collins and other officers of the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force in paying tribute to Deputy Commissioner of Police Mr. Alwin James following his recently announced retirement. Deputy Commissioner of Police Alwin James submitted his retirement letter from the force, which will come into effect at the end of January 2022. After some 37 years, he began his pre-retirement leave on September 1st. Now, in an email to James circulated force-wide, the commissioner shared his gratitude to the deputy for his years of service to the BVI community and his leadership within the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force. Other ranks also expressed their appreciation for the deputy's guidance and contribution to the force. Before being appointed to the post of deputy, he climbed the ranks of detective within the crime division to become superintendent of that division. Michael Matthews, who worked closely with the former deputy, noted that James admirably led in various capacities throughout a significant portion of his career, including acting commissioner to close to 1 year. He said, and I quote, "My success as commissioner for the 5 years in office has had, of course, in part been due to the work of Alwin James. I have nothing but admiration for him. The absence of his immense skill set and fortitude will no doubt be felt. I join with others in wishing him all the best in his retirement," Matthews noted. Now, in notifying the force of his departure, Alwin James shared his love for the profession and the sadness he felt in leaving despite the many challenges and adversities throughout his career. He thanked officers for their support during his leadership and recognized the great talent which exists within the organization. Ms. Jacqueline Vantapool will act as Deputy Commissioner until an official appointment is made. Jovan, one of the stalwart representatives of the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force, Sir Alwin James, will be retiring. He's announced clearly, and after some 37 years of serving the British Virgin Islands, I think it is absolutely remarkable when we have been the benefit of such individuals who served with pride, absolute dignity like Sir Alwin James, and we wish him the absolute best in his retirement. But I also want to point out that I think in the final analysis, persons like James should serve as an example to fellow up-and-coming members of the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force who have dedicated their time and efforts to really a career in law enforcement. I think he's an excellent example, and they should follow suit.
Absolutely, and of course, exemplifying the fact that you could really move up the rank. I know when we had the conversation of having a local person become the police commissioner, his name was certainly at the forefront based on his service and expertise. So we want to wish Mr. James all the best, of course, as he heads into retirement, and of course extend that to the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force as well. Now, still ahead of the break, Virgin Islander pays off a $21,000 student loan debt in the middle of the pandemic, and also launching a financial literacy business, as well as COVID-19 stimulus feedback now extended to October 17th. That's according to government. We have all the details when 284 News returns. Viewers, welcome back to 284 News. Now, Virgin Islander Tanya Vantapool, well known as Nika V, has launched a financial literacy business by the name of Financially Winning, a platform geared towards bringing awareness about financial literacy matters and, of course, providing resources and tools to individuals across the territory. Now, the financial entrepreneur slash travel vlogger was notably celebrated for her personal accomplishment of clearing off a $21,000 student loan debt in the middle of the pandemic. Just earlier today, she walked us through the journey, carefully highlighting the fundamental but often underestimated tool of budgeting. Listen.
Consumer debt definitely can be a big thing to tackle. So anything from student loans, personal loans, credit cards, high auto loans, things like that. It definitely consumes a lot of us, especially student loan debt as well as we pursue higher education. So for me, my goal was basically to create a debt payoff plan and of course make sure that I had my budget in line. And I know when people hear budget, they're like, no way, like, I don't want to be on a budget. But that's what helped me, that basic foundation helped me to achieve this goal in about 11 months. So I dedicated 2020 to this goal, and of course pandemic, so it did keep me back a little bit.
I was just
at
about
the
to say,
beginning.
how did you accomplish this in the middle of a pandemic
Yeah.
where finances were tight? I mean, so many persons were operating on less than they're usually accustomed to. So that in itself was a challenge.
Yes, it was definitely a challenge. I would say I was very dedicated towards the goal. And because of the pandemic, it did have a plus side where my expenses sort of reduced because, of course, travel is a big part of just my life personally. I spend and save a lot towards travel. So with me not even traveling as much and just being at home, I was able to basically reduced my expenses during this time. And with the pandemic, I just made sure I reduced every single thing that I could to be able to put all of the extra money that I had towards debt.
Now, viewers, Nika has channeled her knowledge and expertise into a business that now provides much needed financial skills to effectively navigate some of the financial challenges of this time, as well as wealth building. Let's watch.
Yes, so Financially Winning is a personal finance platform that is dedicated to helping individuals win with their finances. So in all areas such as budgeting, saving, debt payoff, and even wealth building through investing. So I focus on those four main pillars, but my priority and main focus is to make sure that people basically do the first three, which is budgeting, saving, and debt payoff, so that they can get to the fourth pillar, which is building wealth through investing.
Now, without a doubt, financial literacy is certainly one of those skills we wish we were taught in school. Nika spoke to the importance of teaching this life skill at an early age, but also the essential role parents play in educating their children on the matter.
I love that question because, of course, a lot of us can say, I didn't really learn that, when I was in school. And I think it's probably about the same now. I don't think much has changed, but that is literally across like the world, even especially in the US. And I could probably say across the Caribbean as well. We don't really see where the focus is on financial literacy being embedded in a school's curriculum. But I would say though, if we then teach the parents, at least the parents can then, pass that information along. Because one thing I always say is that, yes, you can pass on, physical assets and things like that, but passing on that financial knowledge is just as an important asset as the physical asset. So yes, we can start from, the school level, but we also need to focus on educating the adults at this time as well, so that they can pass that information along to their children, siblings, and just people in the community.
Now, viewers, as a result of her outstanding accomplishments, Nika was actually featured on Travel Nord. This is an international digital media company serving millennials of the African diaspora through inspiring travel content. This was such a big deal, Ron. I remember
Beautiful stuff.
her story being featured, and of course, again, local Virgin Islanders doing exceedingly well and preparing our children for a future of success.
Very important. Continuing on, viewers, the government of the Virgin Islands has extended the deadline for the completion of the mandatory COVID-19 stimulus feedback form to Sunday, October 17th. Permanent Secretary of the Premier's Office, Dr. Carolyn O'Neill Morton, explained that the extension of the deadline is necessary to ensure that the government can properly assess the impact of the COVID-19 stimulus here in the British Virgin Islands. She said, and I quote, "Without the data gathered from the feedback form, the government cannot properly evaluate and monitor how the COVID-19 economic stimulus has affected persons, businesses, and the local economy." P.S. Morton added, "It's imperative that we receive feedback to adequately respond to the needs of those participating in our economy." Now, persons and businesses that have received the COVID-19 economic stimulus for micro, small, and medium enterprises, including daycares, preschools, private schools, churches, religious organizations, farmers, and fisherfolk, are asked to complete the COVID-19 stimulus feedback form to assist the government with completion of its economic stimulus grant report to ascertain the confirmation and the impact of the support on this respective venture. Now, Dr. O'Neill Morton further noted that all recipients of the stimulus have a responsibility to provide feedback. She said, and I quote, "We thank those persons who have already completed the feedback forms. Indeed, the information received will help to advise on how the stimulus received has impacted our community during a critical time of need." Now, the forms, viewers, for the respective stimulus grants are available on the Government of the Virgin Islands website. You can do so, and the forms can also be electronically received, and also from that form, and you can email the Premier's office at premieroffice@gov.vg for further information. Viewers, up next we have a very special guest in studio, the chairperson of the Miss BVI Committee, the lovely Miss Natalie Hodge, who joins us live to discuss the upcoming pageant. All this and so much more after a word from our sponsors. You're watching 284 News.
The wait is over. CCT Fire is here. Experience ultra-fast downloads, seamless streaming, and even more reliable connectivity on an all-new fire-blazing super-fast CCT Fiber network. CCT Fire. Bring it home and upgrade today.
Is business slow? Cash flow down? Hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media at cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works. Viewers, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. As promised, we are joined by Miss Natalie Hodge, the chairperson of the Miss BVI Committee. Miss Hodge, thank you so much for your time this evening, and welcome to 284 News.
Thank you for having me on the program, Ron.
We are so happy to see that the Miss British Virgin Islands pageant is still on. Of course, throughout this year, we've experienced the pandemic and the surge of COVID, which has halted the pageant, but it still will be held on October 17th. That's Sunday, October 17th. And I understand you have 6 young ladies vying for the title who are ready and excited to chair on the, and to really culminate culture here in the BVI. I want to talk about this year's theme for the pageant. What is it?
This year's theme is our cultural identity, perseverance, resilience, and evolution. I think it's a fitting theme because it speaks to us as a people, as a community. It speaks to our forefathers, their resilience, their perseverance, and it speaks to where we have to now go as a people coming out of this COVID pandemic. How do we evolve moving forward? I totally agree, and when we hear the word resilience, it also speaks to the Virgin Islands Festival and First Committee and the Miss BVI Committee. COVID-19 altered the plans. Tell us about the journey to still have the pageant this year. Well, we have faced challenges just like everyone else in the community. What we had to do was adapt and become flexible. We, as a committee, we had to pivot and start having our meetings virtually. And we made sure that we checked in with each other to ensure our mental well-being. In terms of the contestants, we ensured that they created their own videos, recorded their own productions, submitted them to us, providing supportive messages to the Olympians that were performing at the Olympics. Also for the Emancipation Day, they created messages for that. And we also asked them to record their messages and submit again to us so that we created the overall production, the end product, to encourage the community to adhere to the COVID-19 health and safety protocols as provided by the government. So those were the things that we had to adapt to during the spike in cases in the territory.
Understood. Now we understand that there were challenges, and of course the girls persevered. As you can see, viewers, there are six lovely contestants. The photos just being shown on our screen. Ms. Hodge, I want to talk about these segments. Of course, I know that there's going to be a pre-interview segment. You can talk about that. But in addition to that, I want to speak about the segments that will actually be taking place on the evening of the pageant.
Yes, so the segments on the evening of the pageant will be introduction segment combined with the cultural dress segment. We have swimwear, we have evening wear, we have BVI promo, and question and answer. And if I may add, we opted to remove the talent segment this year because we're cognizant of the financial strains persons in the community have dealt with because of the pandemic, and we know that our contestants as well as the pageant rely heavily on our community support or local establishments. And so we know that a lot of these segments, sometimes they incur a lot of exorbitant fees, so we opted to remove that segment from the pageant this year.
Okay.
Okay.
So there will be no talent this year.
No talent.
But also we have a pre-interview segment. Tell us about that.
Well, the pre-interview segment is a private event, and because it's private, the venue is going to be private.
Okay.
The interview segment normally takes the format of the contestants, the committee members. What we do, we invite select persons from the community to attend a cocktail event, and the contestants are then allowed to socialize and interact with those persons from the community. Then at some point during the evening, they're escorted in order to a select panel of judges where they will be interviewed based on their bio that they submitted when they applied, and they do the face-to-face interview, and they will be judged based on that by those select judges on their eloquence, fluency, articulation, etc.
Amazing. Now, the pageant again is going to be held on Sunday, October 17th. It could not be possible without the sponsorship of many individuals across the territory. Are you able to tell us who some of these sponsors are for this year's competition?
I can name a few of them. It's quite a bit, and I might miss a few, and it's not intentional, but you can visit our Facebook page at Official Miss British Virgin Islands, where we'll be naming all of our sponsors. We do want to thank our sponsors because we received tremendous support from the community.
Wonderful.
And the pageant couldn't happen, as well as the contestants. They needed that support from the community, and they stepped up. So I'd like to thank the Ministry of Education and Culture, Youth Affairs, Fisheries and Agriculture, Briverderm, Scrub Island Resort, National Bank of the Virgin Islands, Nova Vita Apparel, CCT BVI, Jay's Varieties, Royal Shop, Paradise Water Sports, Hike BVI, Sotheby's International Realty. We have a number of sponsors. Indeed. And we're thankful. We also should mention that our local designers stepped up and they provided contribution to our swimwear segment. So we paired a local designer with each contestant to work with bringing their creative design to life for the night of the pageant for the swimwear segment. And we want to thank Akeem Stanley, Men and I Designs, Duo Collection & Co., Islander Swim, and Kim Asia.
Wonderful. This pageant is in its, of course, we're celebrating our 67th year of emancipation celebration, but the Miss BVI pageant has really solidified its place as part of our culture. As a chairperson, how important would you say this entire competition is to the fabric of the culture of the BVI?
Well, Ron, I'll just go back a bit. The pageant started in 1953 with Miss Ivy Shinnery from Just Van Dyke, who was the first festival queen. The pageant then evolved to become Miss British Virgin Islands.
Okay.
And we've had that pageant every year since then, or we have crowned someone every year since then. It is part of our culture and our tradition as we celebrate our emancipation, and that is the time that the event is usually held. The pageant, I think, is very important traditionally because it helps to empower the women in our community. It helps them to advance in their personal and professional lives, and it gives them a platform to lend their voice to the causes that are important to them.
Wonderful. Ms. Hodge, thank you so much. Viewers, we are encouraging you to support the young ladies and the pageant committee in this year's upcoming pageant. We are out of time, but it is always a pleasure to bring you the daily happenings, both locally, regionally, and internationally. We have a number of stories that you can feel free to visit our website. I'm Ron Grant.
And my name is Javon Wilson. Always a pleasure reminding you to join us again tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.